can only go for the test. We can only charge.
Oh, okay. Tony Brazil's the school district.
Okay, why is it?
Oh, you look great too. So you're in it, right?
Yeah, you're in
Yeah, I'm X, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Sounds good.
miscommunication. Is it? You guys be getting along.
You want to read
Oh, so are we changing it to
We're trying to discuss this.
Yeah.
because we don't have.
We're gonna figure it out. Well, I want everyone to check it. Getting a back on.
Okay.
Is your name not?
Oh, that's right.
Says you were active 12 hours. Yeah. I think that's everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you up here, man.
So
that if I were to do this,
Three, four.
did I actually do it or not?
Don't be proud.
What's such a good name? I sent them the link. I don't know if I completed it or not. CSO.
Orange it. Lucky you. Check in. Oh, gotcha. What'd you say?
And my internship meeting today.
I got a chance.
3 o'clock, well, everyone's. I have 3.
It's got remarkably better.
Being at 9 a.m. on Friday to
So no matter what, I'm
football coach here.
yes, I was on
And
girls that aren't in the
it's not, that's the
But
guy.
you are the guest speaker here.
I am the guest speaker there.
Okay.
Yeah, the guest speaker.
Caroline's
And I'll introduce myself. That's easier. Thanks. Name's Tony. True Italian. Did you say we wrote? Yeah.
Time is 7:01. I call this session of the Whitewater Student Government to order. If able, please rise alongside me as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Vice President, when you're ready, take your time. Please call the roll. Mr. Deputy Speaker, when you're ready, take your time. Would you please call the roll? All right. There's an unofficial minutes, an unofficial roster document. Can help you grab it if necessary.
Yes, that would be great.
So sorry, folks. Please excuse the interruption. Our clerk is out sick. She's joining us virtually, so Sadie West is over there. We're just navigating these waters for the first time. So thank you all so much for your patience. Just so we open up the document. Official documents. Okay. Where's your placard? Minutes. Who's here, please record it, call all of these names. Okay. There's going to be a few that aren't going to respond to you. They're already excused. So get it with you. There's everybody in the room right now. Some of those people aren't going to be here because they're excused. Get it with you. Yeah, take your time. Mr. Vice President, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Senator Bull.
Here.
Senator Carter.
Present.
Senator Irwin.
Present.
Senator Esserholm.
Here.
Senator Gross.
Present.
Senator Getzlaw.
Here.
Senator Houston. Senator Calvin. Senator Michael.
Present.
Senator Miller.
Here.
Senator Patricus.
Present.
Senator Punzel.
Present.
Senator Purnell. Senator Schmidt.
Present.
Senator Wiedemann. Speaker Wilson.
Present. And with that, we move into special orders, starting with the Senate oath of office. If you're a senator who was appointed to a seat last meeting and got your signatures verified by the clerk, would you please join me up front for the Senate oath of office? Given you have been chosen by the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater as a senator on this city government, understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept your position of senator and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges it will include? If so, say, "I will to the best of my ability." Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Blair King,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office
to fulfill the
obligations,
obligations
and responsibilities
responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable of
to be knowledgeable of,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
the WSG standards,
and university policy,
and university policy,
to the best of my
to
ability.
the best of my ability.
Congratulations. It is my pleasure to welcome you all, the newest senator of the Whitewater Free State. Thank you so much. You're welcome to take your seat. And with that, we will move on to item B, which is an optional motion to convert 4 off-campus seats to at-large seats. I'm going to yield to the deputy speaker real quick, and he'll tell you a little bit about why we do this kind of thing occasionally.
The Constitution lets us as a body convert district seats to at-large. It's in the Constitution. It requires a 2/3 vote. But we can do this essentially when there's a big chunk of vacant seats in one particular district. In this case, off-campus. Right now, 75% of that district is vacant. Convert it to at-large, so more people are eligible for that seats. So off-campus people are still eligible for at-large seats, but this just gives them, if someone were on campus, right, they wanted to run for a seat, like if there's 2 people who live in the extra district, we don't have to turn one away if one's a good qualified candidate. We can allow both qualified members to take their seats.
Senator Bolton.
Point of information, how long would this take place? How long is that time span of it being converted?
So if we were to convert the seats, they stay converted for the rest of the Senate term. If someone takes their seat, right, if someone were to run for an at-large seat, they take one of these, if they were to resign, it would revert back to the original district, but if they're vacant, they stay vacant for the entire term. That's it.
So it's just something we do to balance the Senate out, give more people the ability to run for seats. I'm looking for someone to entertain the motion. Senator Puzzle,
I second that motion.
you can make the motion.
I move to convert 4 off-campus seats to at-large seats.
Perfect, can I get a second? Second by Senator Gross. With that, I'll ask for unanimous consent, as you know, I'm not going to call the roll call much. Is there any objections? Going once, going twice, seeing none, conversion is passed. With that, we move on to the appointment of 1 extra district seat. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for 1 extra district seat? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we move on to the appointment of 1 Drumlin district seat. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for a Drumlin district seat? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we move to the appointment of 2 off-campus district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for an off-campus district? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we move to the appointment of 2 Rock County district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for a Rock County district seat? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we move to the appointment of 4 at-large district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for an at-large district seat? Wonderful. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you could, as you walk by, please state your first and last name to the Vice President. Wonderful. So you'll have 3 minutes to tell us a little bit about why you want to be the next Senator of the Whitewater Student Government, your name, major, make sure your name is spelled right on the board. Lawton, give the floor, take it away.
Hi, so thank you everybody for hearing what I have to say. I'm Lawton Reber. I am a history major with a minor in political science. And really, I would like to join student government because I like to interact and help my other fellow students. And I also kind of have an interest in working in either politics or law when I graduate. So I think that this would be a really good place to get connections and kind of a place to start that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. With that, we'll move into a couple questions. Any questions, Senator Puzzle?
All right. So, what is the biggest challenge you have faced as a leader, if you have faced any, or are currently facing any? How would you overcome it?
I think that I need to do more leadership roles so that I do have to face those challenges before I ultimately enter that sector, but I do face some challenges with leadership when I'm at work, and usually I try to deal with those by meeting with everybody and trying to work out the best solution that works for everybody the best so that nobody really loses, you know?
Any other questions? Senator Bolt?
What is your current grade level here at Whitewater?
I am a junior.
Director Schmidt?
What do you bring to the Senate that might be different from what somebody else brings?
I'm a history major, which means that I do really well with research and I can write really well and kind of do speaking really well. So I do bring that at least to the table, but other than that, I don't know.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice? Seeing none, wonderful. With that, we will move into a roll call vote. Because we have 4 spots open tonight, what that means is you can say the prospective senator's name. Could you pronounce your name? Last name.
Reberg.
Reberg. So you could say Reberg, you could say aye. Those are votes in favor of the senator, or you could say nay. Those are votes against appointing the senator. There they are. Wonderful. Mr. Vice President, are you ready? Please call the roll.
Senator Bolt,
Aye.
Senator Carter,
Aye.
Senator Irwin,
Aye.
Senator Esserholm,
Aye.
Senator Gross,
Aye.
Senator Gutzloff, Senator Houston, Senator Calvin, Senator Michael, Senator Miller, Senator Petrikis, Senator Punzel,
Nay.
Senator Purnell, Senator Schmidt, Senator Wiedemann, and Speaker Wilson.
Aye. And with that, congratulations to the new senator of the Whitewater Student Government. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. If you would, please see me after the meeting. We'll talk a little bit about next steps. Wonderful. And with that, we will move into guest speakers. We have a wonderful guest speaker tonight from the Whitewater Unified School District. You're welcome to join us at the podium here.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How are you? Good, how are you? Good. I know this is an official Senate meeting, but you gotta kind of loosen it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of us have been working with kids all day long. Yeah, if you could just switch to that slide there, that'd be great. I could click through if you, that works. So here to talk a little bit about a referendum that's coming through. Will be on the April 1st ballot. Just a little bit about me, Dr. Anthony Brzezowski. I have a doctorate in leadership and public policy from Cardinal Stretch University. I did my bachelor's work at Marquette University, English literature major, psychology minor, journalism minor, all kinds of fun stuff. Got a master's in leadership, also from Cardinal Stretch, and then got my master's in business administration from right here in Whitewater. My daughter is a sophomore here, junior in standing, pursuing finance. So a lot of connections here to the Whitewater community, and I'm here to speak to you on behalf of the school district. My role here is Director of Business and Human Services. So I basically deal with all the finance and then all of our wonderful HR stuff. And so what I want to provide for you is just an overview. I'll try to get through it as quickly as possible so that you can get to the questions that you'll probably really want to ask. And then of course my contact is there if I can be of any assistance to you whatsoever, whether it's through the school district or in your time here in student governance. I can tell you first and foremost, thank you for your service. Because a lot of us who have been working, this is my 32nd year in public schools. I can tell you public service is an interesting place to be, especially these days. You most certainly are taking on a challenging world, and I'm sure that this world will be great to have you. So thank you for that service. If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to do that. So, can I ask you to click, or how do I click?
Yes, we can.
Oh, it's right here. Boom.
Or I can do it for
Thank you. There we go. So first things we just want to talk through. This is kind of our district scorecard. When we look at things, we've heard a lot in the community. You may see some big signs by some folks who don't do too much homework. They just like to put their opinions up on those signs. But we are, in fact, increasing in math literacy, ACT scores, attendance, career and technical planning and participation, and then most importantly, staff morale. So the way that we work with those, the staff morale piece is through surveys. And so the fun part about that is we asked our staff, I look forward to going to work most days. 89% strongly agreed or agreed. So we must have caught them on a good day. We didn't buy them breakfast that day or anything, I promise. I have opportunities to learn, to develop in meaningful ways. Again, this is our staff. We had an 84% saying, yes, we do agree or strongly agree. The district is making consistent progress on its goals and initiatives. 82% of our staff, 81.3, are saying that they do agree or strongly agree with that. And everyone seems to be working toward the same goal of making a difference in the lives of students. Nearly 90% of those who responded to the survey did in fact agree or strongly agree with that statement. As far as actual achievement, I don't know if you've been watching the news or seeing all the wonderful stuff, but the unfortunate true news is that proficiency in math and English language arts is exceptionally low across the country. And so the challenge we have is how do we increase that while ensuring that all of our students are successful. So in 2022, the forward exam is the Wisconsin State Assessment. And so in 2022, 35% of our students were at proficiency or above, 23, 45.6, and last year, 49.7. So is 50% of our student, is a 50% mark for our students being proficient in math a good mark? No, it most certainly isn't where we want to be, but we want to continue to move forward. The idea is that we're showing progress. Secondly, looking at English language arts, in 2022, 26% only, and now 2023 we had 29.2% who were at proficient in English language arts, and then we had a huge jump last year from 29.2 to 42%. In your world of student government, if you want to look it up, Wisconsin did pass Act 20. Act 20 is a literacy bill in which us older folks who went to school had a lot of phonics. And then this whole language thing came on, and phonics kind of went away, and students were taught to just kind of decipher language by looking at patterns. And what we found was that people were not able to read as well as they should have. And unfortunately, there's probably 3 or 4 generations, some of you may be that generation, not experiencing phonics and having difficulty reading. So by just going back to those phonics basics and really working that into our curriculum, we saw significant gains. So we're hoping that next year we'll see a similar gain. The reason I'm giving you all this information is not so that you're bored out of your mind here on a Monday night, but in fact to give you some idea as to why the school district will be asking for money. CTE, career and technical education. So not everybody goes to college, right? Not everyone is going to be sitting in a university room like this. It's not for everyone. If you're sitting in this room and really not liking it, you shouldn't be here. Don't do it because your parents told you to, or your neighbors told you to, or you're destined for the university. If you don't like it, get out. And that's okay, because quite honestly, most of these folks will make more money than all of us. That's just the way it works. And so in the high school, what we were looking to do were create industry certifications. These are certifications that are recognized by things like the Nursing Association or mechanics, and as they go into the trades, it's a certification, it's not credits. We had 4 students in 21-22 pursue this. We had 36 in 22-23, and then we had 40 going in 23-24. So we see a very steady jump in enrollment in our technical education classes. That's foods classes, that's your metals, construction, automotive, also our nursing program. Work-based learning, that means that you have a job in a trade while you're taking the classes at the high school. We had 0 students in 21-22, 13 in 22-23, and 21 in 23-24. Again, we're seeing that upward trajectory of these programs continuing to grow. But perhaps what's most important is dual enrollment. That means while you're with us in the high school, we make sure that you are getting post-secondary credits. Some are through this university right here. We have kids who are students who are taking classes and earning college credit at the university, but also at technical colleges. Dual enrollment classes, we had 101 students move to 134 and just skyrocket to 402 students. We have 2 students this year who are graduating from Whitewater High School with associate's degrees as well as their high school diplomas. The idea is cutting the gap between high school and post-secondary work, right? We don't want folks going into jobs that are non-skilled, because non-skilled jobs get done by other things as time moves on. So we want to close that gap as best we can. So the challenge that we have is that it's a very different model than we've been built on in the past, correct? This country has been mainly built to send students to college to do well on ACT scores. And so what we really need to start looking at is how do we make it relevant. So we did a survey of trying to kind of feel what our constituency was feeling. We didn't get the greatest response rate, but as you'll know in student government, this is important for you to remember. You don't get much of a gathering as it is, right? You're lucky if you get to about 30% when you send out a survey. But approximately 69 of parent respondents said they would definitely or probably support a capital referendum. 56.4 of the respondents indicated that they would definitely or probably support a career and technical education project of $4.1 million. Our challenge was that the total project cost was $36 million. And so now we're getting opinions of folks who are saying, yeah, we probably go for 32, but we want 4.1 of it going to technical education. And so the board sat down and said, well, what can we do with that and how are we going to work through that? And so after working with a number of different our architectural firm as well as Baird, who's doing our financing, we landed on a $30 million maximum by trimming back some things and moving things around, and that referendum would be on the ballot Tuesday, April 1st. So a capital referendum is a one-time bonding. It's a one-time borrow where bonds are issued, and that borrow allows you to make capital improvements to the school district. It's not operational, it's not something that's ongoing. It's something for a very specific purpose. It's not something that just simply goes to offset current operational costs. So this is what we looked at, and I'll kind of walk you through that really quickly. We did a comprehensive facility study. We didn't just walk around the building and say, this looks bad, let's get rid of this, let's do that. We hired an architectural firm to come in and look at actual systems and structures. And so if you really want some exciting bathroom reading, click on that link on our website and you'll enjoy it. Or if you just can't fall asleep because you had too much coffee from the sweet spot, that'll put you to sleep very quickly. We found our facility had three main categories of needs: infrastructure, safety, security, and student spaces. Infrastructure, all the great stuff. Anybody engineering majors in here? Any engineering folks? Anyone? No one? Okay, great. I won't crack any engineer jokes, but still. HVAC, electrical, plumbing system. We have doors and windows that are currently failing. We have parking lots that are constantly underwater, filled with gravel, all this other great stuff. Hazard, trips, slips, and falls. #1 killer of any company out there. You don't want things that are going to trip people who are visiting your sites. It's exceptionally costly. HVAC and electrical plumbing systems. HVAC is just a dirty word for any large building. You have controls and you have the systems and they get all goofy, and as time goes on and you start band-aiding them together, they don't work nicely together. And suddenly you have units that are breaking down, or you have controls that have nothing to do with the units that you're trying to run, and you get classroom spaces that are exceptionally out of balance. Let's just put it that way with the season. Safety and security. I don't know if any of you have come by our middle school on Elizabeth Street, but if you come by around 3:10, 3:15 on an afternoon, you'll see it's kind of like highly suicidal. There's buses and cars and kids, and it's crazy. Middle school kids are kind of like squirrels, they're just all over the place. Not a safe situation. So one thing we want to look at when we look at the design of buildings, and this is my 6th referendum now, so I've heard it a million times in my career, you want your buses separated from your parent drop-off so you don't have kids crossing over. And so this proposal would put a bus lane that would not go out on Elizabeth Street, but in fact go off on the side where currently the existing track is, separating parents from those buses, and then opening up Elizabeth Street so that students will be coming outside, so that there is passage, safe passage at least during that time. Anytime you touch a space with a significant renovation, the American with Disabilities Act says that you need to make that space ADA accessible. If you aren't touching a space in a significant way, you're grandfathered in. So it's not as though we're not in compliance right now. We're currently grandfathered in. However, in the best interest of our citizenry, we always want to make sure that we make those spaces up to code whenever we touch them. Lastly, security camera systems. In this day and age, as you well know, security is a high priority. Our systems are old. They're grainy, they're ugly, they don't store things for very long, and most of our cameras are dysfunctional. So we definitely need to kick that up. Perhaps most importantly, are our student spaces. I talked to you a little bit about career and technical education. This looks to expand our offerings there. So we do have an agricultural program. Right now we have our live animals are being stored in what used to be a storage area, because that's the only place we can fit them. So this would make some more room for that. They're okay, I promise. It's not like they're just like a cat in a closet, okay? Like the rabbits and stuff are in cages and all that jazz. But that would make for that space. Cafeteria and kitchen. Right now, our high schoolers, our custodians set up chairs. Actually, the cafeteria tables, those folding ones with the wonderful little circles about this big that you gotta sit on, which are really not comfortable, especially when you get to be my age, right? You got to pop those things down, lay them out in the hallway so that students have places to eat, because we can't fit everybody in the cafeteria. Then they have to pop those things all back up, clean up that hallway so that students are able to then go through with the traffic. Not a safe thing, not a good thing, but it's what we have to do. We can't add more lunch periods, otherwise we'd have students starting to eat at 9:30 in the morning and not stopping to eat until almost 2 in the afternoon, so we'd be having to triple some of our shifts in order for our faculty or our staff to make those meals. Not very cost effective. This would look at that space, reinvent that space, make sure that it's open. It's also attached to our gym, which allows for a gathering space before you go in. Auditorium. The high school is the newest building in the district. It was built 32 years ago. Anybody in here 32? Besides 3 of us? Most of you weren't even alive when that thing was built, right? And it hasn't been touched. So our auditorium has not been touched. It's not a full renovation. The actual stage surface has never been replaced, so it's pretty divoted and terrible. If you've ever been in any dramatic productions or been on the stage, you'll see they get beaten up pretty well. And then also sound and light replacements are necessary. Lastly, our tennis courts are at their last life. In my former life, where I was, we actually had our track condemned by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association because it got so bad. Chunks of it were like blowing into the highway. It was wild. And so we had to bus all of our students to a local college in order for our students to compete. We don't want to be in that situation. We want all of our students to have an opportunity, as well as you. These courts are available. I know you have great ones on campus here, but they're also very busy, so come on out, check them out. But we're looking to get those upgraded so that we can continue to offer that. I won't go into kind of the crazy details. This is the stuff I was just talking about. Again, anybody ever been to the high school here, by any chance? Anybody go to the high school? We got any Whippet alums? No Whippet alums? All right, that's fine. We'll take it. We'll take it. Anybody nearby anywhere else? Any Whitnall folks? Whitnall, South Milwaukee, Waukesha, Waukesha West, North, South?
South. South.
South? Waukesha South? Okay, black shirt, yep.
Milwaukee technically.
Pewaukee. All right, that's okay. We'll let it go. No, I'm just kidding. I was Waukesha. Where were you?
I'm from Eagle River.
Oh, Eagle River. I know what Eagle River is.
Not too far.
Snowmobile capital of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, well, anyway, if you're in our high school, this top space are our technical education spaces. Anywhere you see blue is heavy renovation. Anywhere you see red is new construction. And so at this particular point in time, where you see the cafeteria on the bottom here, that red part, actually, the kitchen is part of all that blue, which cuts off all that space. So we want to blow that whole thing wide open so that it's all open for seating. And as you can see to the left of it is our gymnasium. It's a great gathering space where we're also going to put in a school store because we currently don't have one, like a real school store run by students selling merchandise, and as well as a concession stand so that people can work with that. And we want to move our family consumer science classroom over toward the back of the actual industrial kitchen. So instead of family consumer science classes on residential stoves and stuff, we can actually get them in a commercial kitchen so they can start to feel what that industry standard would look like. Here's that bus drop-off thing. Right now, that top part where you see the yellow dotted line does not exist. So down in the bottom where you see the blue, we stuff all the parents and the buses. And the district office, that's where I live. I'm right on the corner, so I get to see it all the time. Everybody's here, and then we got all the squirrels going out the front of the building. It's like crazy, right? There's stuff all over. So the idea is if you look at where that bus drop-off is, where those bus slots are, the buses do not back out. Those slots are actually long enough so that buses can turn on their radius moving forward. So first bus out, and then the rest follow. More safe for kids. Obviously, you probably have heard, most recently we had a student who had been struck by a bus and actually killed because buses are unable to see what's going on around them. So this is a safer way of moving kids off campus and then keeping the parent drop-off separate from that. So what does this all mean? This is the fun part for the business guy, right? So the way this whole thing's work, do you guys know how that all works? Mill rates and all that stuff? Did you talk about that? Student government folks? No? Taxes and all that good stuff. Mill rate, that's the amount of money that you pay per $1,000 of value. That's equalized valuation. That's not your assessed value, it's not your fair market value, it's equalized valuation. Equalized valuation is a bigger, longer formula that the state puts out and says for this whole region, approximately this is what your property is worth in that. It's a proportional piece. This particular proposal is 47 cents per thousand, which comes to 94 annually for a $200,000 home. That's the median price right now for the Whitewater. So looking at about $94 a year. You can kind of see on the bottom here, the way these borrows work is different than what you get on a mortgage or a car loan. When you bond things out, the way that you finance them, it actually goes down with time. So as you pay off principal, payments become less. Because payments become less, the mill rate becomes less. So the 47 cents you're paying per thousand is for the first 6 or 7 years, and after that it drops off by a penny or two each year, and then lower and lower and lower until 2046, when I'm no longer here and you're just starting to get a great career, it's down to 24 cents. So it actually kind of goes down with time. And politically, we can talk about why that is if you ever want to talk about that. But when it comes to public finance, you can fill that gap with another borrow, and it's not as much of a tax impact, but it really helps places sustain how they're continuing to operate. Mill rate has been dropping. Yeah, that's a good thing, but equalized value, property worth is going up. So as that goes up, mill rates tend to drop. You're paying about the same dollar amount, lower percentage, higher value, right? Lower value, higher percentage. Makes sense? Same dollar amount. So it doesn't necessarily matter that it's going down, but what does matter is that the levy, the money that's actually being used by the district, the budget has been dropping. So though our expenses have gone up, the board has looked at trimming a lot of the fat that's been out there. Asked me, I just started in July here. Prior to this, I was a school district superintendent, and then a whole bunch of other stuff along the way. But they brought me in to look at how can we kind of trim this out and make sure that we're keeping that budget moving forward. So we've been fiscally responsible historically and look forward to doing that in the future. So I told you I was an English major. Only an English major can appreciate making, and actually no, you student governance, you guys are in it too. There's history people, like history, political science, all you guys. Yeah, buddy. When you can make a single sentence look like a paragraph, life is good. Except when you put it on a ballot. Right? So when you look at this whole thing, you start at the dollar amount and it tells you all the stuff that I just told you. What is it for? Their construction of additions, renovations, the high school, kitchen, cafeteria, this whole laundry list of things. And then it also says other stuff across the district, which is what I told you, doors, windows, security cameras, and all that good stuff. And at the very bottom, you'll see something that says, in the acquisition of furnishings, fixtures, and equipment. A lot of people are like, what does that mean? You just like throw out all the desks and buy all new chairs and stuff like that? No, that's not what it means. What it means is that in those renovated spaces, you can't, if you have equipment that is no longer useful or is obsolete, then the fixtures and furnishings and equipment that would go with that renovated space would make sense. So obviously, if you're going to expand upon a greenhouse, your sprinkler system isn't going to be transferred from the old one to the new one because it was customized to that old space. So that would be something that would be a fixture that would be built into that new place, if that makes sense. So the furnishings aren't like the business manager is going to get a new fancy chair. Not going to happen. It's not part of it. For more information in this world of QR codes, you can go to our website. You can check that out. We do have frequently asked questions section. You can email that. You can email me. You can give me a call. You can stop by the district office. I'm easy to find. What we're trying to do is get information out to folks so that you can make the vote. You make the call. Again, you are our citizens, and a lot of folks here in the city, whether they want to admit it or not, you are the largest little city within the city. And so your voice matters very importantly, whether it's yay or nay. That's not why I'm here. I'm not here to tell you yay or nay. I'm here to give you the information that I can about why this is and where it came to be, and why we believe that it's important for the future of the school district to look for this borrow right now to ensure that as time goes on, we can keep that moving forward and not have to keep coming back asking for more. It's about being fiscally responsible. So with that, I say thank you. I tried to go as fast as I could so that I wouldn't take your valuable time, but I'm here for questions if you have them. And if not, then I will go home.
With that, we're moving to questions. I have one to start.
Okay.
And I guess it's kind of a broader one. So how do we communicate with our constituents if they have questions, when we're talking about encouraging them to go to the polls, etc. How do we, in 3 bullet points, tell them how this referendum affects them and why they should vote?
3 bullets. I like it. I would say 3 bullets. we want to best prepare students for the future. And in order to do so, we need to upgrade our facilities to meet those needs. That's your tech ed part, right? We've got a place that, I won't go into too much of it. The way that public schools are funded does not allow schools to raise enough money to keep up with inflation and bills. And so the district has been paying those bills, but the capital improvement stuff, the big projects, the bigger things haven't been met. So we've got big things that need fixing that we have to take care of. We've been taking care of the little things, but we need big things that need fixing. And I would say the last piece is the stability of this town comes from people who move here, pay taxes here. They want to see a desirable school district. They want their kids to start out and eventually graduate from there. When you have a place that has a great staff and starts getting great results or is moving in the right direction and has excellent facilities, you're going to attract more families. When you attract more families, you attract more of an economy. When you attract more of an economy, you attract businesses, and that benefits all of us, right? Whether it's Aldi or Walmart or whomever else may be coming here. So that's the best 3 bullets I could do. That's probably more than 3 bullets.
That's pretty good. Senator Volt?
When would all the renovations and construction be taking place once this referendum, if it does pass?
Great question. So when will it happen? April 1st is the vote. Results will be in that night. We have to be certified by the state within 5 days. So then that happens. Once we're certified within the state, the bonding process starts. So it's an initial borrow. It takes us 30 days to get that back from the initial bond. Once we get the 30-day bonding back, it gets reviewed by the attorney, and he gets another 30 days. And then we get 90 days to issue those bonds for borrows. Once we've issued those bonds for borrows, the bonds can be issued. Construction can't begin, however, though, until the architects have done all the full design. So the long answer to your question that I just gave you can be answered shortly in that most likely about a year from when the vote will be. So it will begin in spring of 2020, I'd say 7. 7, right? 6? Is it 6? 26? Yeah, 26. Spring of 26.
Senator Schmidt?
Yes, sir.
Can you define the difference between an operational referendum and a capital referendum? Because I know there's a lot of high schools that have been going to
Yes.
operational referendum, including my hometown, Waterford, Burlington.
Yep.
So just curious about the difference.
Great. Waterford. Great place. When did you leave Waterford?
Oh gosh.
Not too long ago?
Just a semester ago.
Just a semester ago. Is Jill Stover still there as the athletic director? Do you know her? Okay, I hired her at Whitnall. I started her career in admin. That's how old I am. See? All right, so operational referendum says we're going to go to you as the people, and we're asking for you to allow us to tax you more for operating the district. All right, so state statute says we have these things called revenue limits. The revenue limit says you as a district cannot raise more money between what we offer you in aid and what you tax people. You cannot take out more money than that revenue limit calculation. An operational referendum says, will you allow us to go beyond that limit in order to generate more revenue to run the district? That can be, there are 2 of them, right? There are some that are just for a period of time, which is recurring. We're going to continue to do it. Or we have non-recurring, means that we're going to ask you to do it just for a little bit, maybe a year or 2. A capital says we have big stuff that needs to be dealt with, and we want to bond that out to construction companies. We want to sell that out and get that big project done and finance that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So one is asking, can we borrow money to get a project done, and your taxes would go up because we got to pay those bills. The other one says, can we ask you for more taxes every year to provide for operations? So that's the 2 big ones. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
For the most part? I don't want to dance around it. I'm trying to do it as best I can. Make sense?
Yeah.
Like the capital one would be like, you go and you borrow money to buy a car. The operations one is that you go to your buddies and you're like, hey, dude, can you give me like extra $5 a week for rent because I got to put gas in the car? Make sense?
Yeah.
Material.
Yes. Do you know how long after the construction is done it will be before you have to do another major renovation to re-update like the infrastructure and the various security systems?
Great question. Great question. Here's the tough part. The district's gonna go to an operational referendum next year. So right after this one, then it goes into an operational, because that's what happens every 5 years. The operations, and this is something that when I came in I was a bit shocked by. Typically, when you have a physical plant, you have a long-term capital maintenance plan, and that includes big things like roofs and plumbing and HVAC and stuff like that. In the public sector, particularly public schools, there aren't too many people who are well versed in that, and people have been just kind of putting band-aids on it. So we have a guy who's really well versed in it, plus we got this facility study. So what we're looking at are 3 chunks. What can we do in our operational budget? What can we save for the future? And then what can we do with this particular referendum in order to not have to come back for a capital anytime soon? So the idea is, quite honestly, unless a building is going to get to the point where it's completely going to fall down and we have to build a new one, we are not planning on, we don't want to have to come back for a capital referendum. The idea is this is enough to get us caught up, and then we can continue to perpetuate that through operations to keep up with what we can. So the intent is not again.
Director Smith.
Can you explain what would happen were this to not pass?
If this were to not pass, great. We have the spaces, right? So we would do our best to equip those spaces however we can. Right now, our autos class, for example, was built to accommodate 12 to 16 students, and we have 28 students who'd like to take autos. So we're gonna have to just say no to a lot of kids, which is unfortunate because we don't wanna have to do that. So that would be one way of doing it. The other piece, we'd probably have to, as far as the cafeteria, we'd probably continue to just go about business as we could. I think from a strategic standpoint, if it were to not pass, what I would advise the board and have advised the board in the past is go back around the drawing table and bring in a lower number, and be a bit more precise in exactly what that is and see what the public has to say. The one challenge about it, I'll just throw this out here as student governors, government's expensive, right? And so we don't just get to go and I didn't get to make that long question up. I had to pay an attorney firm to do that. I have to pay a financial firm to do that. I have to pay an architectural firm to do this. I got to pay for all this advertising. You have to pay for your own ballots. We have to pay for our own ballots when you're going to referendum. So every time you go, it's an exceptionally expensive project, right? Who's paying for the expensive project? The taxpayers, right? So I don't want to have to keep coming back to you as taxpayers and ask you more and more questions because I'm spending your money along the way while trying to develop this process. So in my there are 2 things that are my priorities and I always have been. Number 1 are kids and number 2 are taxpayers. That's all I care about. The rest of the stuff doesn't matter. As a district administrator, that's the way it works. And so in the event that it doesn't pass, basically back to the drawing table, coming back together and determining what is a feasible number. But I think with the community survey and everything, this board did a really nice job of really listening and hearing it, trimmed out about $8 million worth of stuff, and ensured that what people said they wanted to see in there was in there. So we'll see. Great question.
Yeah, on this last handout you have,
Yes.
there's the 3 different blocks.
Yep.
Infrastructure, school safety, then WJ student spaces. Do you know a percentage? Do you know off the top of the hand what percentage goes to each block?
Boy, that would be a good question. I do know specifically that once you look at the student spaces piece, you have the tech ed area alone, which is 4.2. And then the cafeteria is about $1.5 million. Tennis courts were actually not that bad. It was like 350,000, and then probably $1 million there. So I would say of the 30, the box on the right, student spaces, is probably at least nearly half. and then the other two would share the other half. The middle school project is 1.2 million for the bus part. So take that off of about 15 million, and whatever's left would be mainly your infrastructure and cameras and security. There is on our website that, I just haven't memorized those numbers yet. I've been doing general presentations, not the specific ones, but I'm sure I'll get there at some point, remembering all the great numbers. So, great question.
Senator Schmidt?
Yeah, so say this didn't pass, not that I'm wishing this, but would you have to like reallocate funds? Like let's say like something, you know, like the window does actually start like really leaking. Would you have to cut from somewhere else to go fix that window? Like something that is like precedent?
Great question. Yes. Yes. The short answer is absolutely. The longer answer is we have different options. So if the fund management and public funding is there's different funds for different purposes. Fund 10 is your general operational fund. We have a 46 and a 41. Fund 41 is money that you can levy for capital improvements projects. 46 is money you can start saving for capital improvements. So if we had an emergency situation with a capital issue, such as a window leak or a roof, collapsing or something, those fund 40s, so if you go on there and actually do the annual report, if you look on there, our annual budget hearing, you can see it's actually sectioned out by those funds. You can see how much money the district is spending on capital improvements for the 40s. That is the money we'd be tapping into for this referendum. What we're trying to do is, through the referendum, dealing with those big issues so that those fund 40s that you're seeing on there are long-term. So that once we have the things taken care of at the high school, those 40s we've been using those for roofs. That's why you won't see any roofs in this, this referendum. It's not about that, it's about student spaces. And so that's why we're trying to use that fund. So yes, we would have to reallocate and figure that out. Great question.
Deputy Speaker Trees?
Yeah, are you able to go back to the map of the middle school with the bus drop off?
Surely.
Yeah. You mentioned there was an accident there. Is that I don't think common, but like.
No, we didn't have an accident.
Oh.
No, we didn't. No, it was another school district. But it was an accident where a student had gotten, a student had actually been killed, a young child.
But have there been accidents with the drop off?
We have not had accidents. We've had a few close calls, especially, never been with buses, but our parents, boy, they really want to get out of there quickly. Who are just, and unfortunately, you've got kids kind of going out this way. Sorry, Parker, I was pointing at your head. Like going out this way or that way. Going out the front of the school, which causes a lot of issues, and then coming out this way. So it's not easy to manage at this particular point in time. So what we're trying to do is get rid of the front and say kids are either going out the bottom or the top. You're either going to buses or you're going to your parents, and that way we can control what's happening in front of the school district. Good question.
Senator Mitchell?
Okay, as an education major, I almost have to ask this.
An education major, yes! My
Because-
people!
Because you brought up phonics.
Elementary?
Earlier. Yeah. So
Okay.
I know that this really has nothing to do with like the referendum, but you were saying
Speakers, you
that
allowed to ask that? Absolutely, I'm just checking.
you had brought up that a lot of school districts, they got far away from teaching basic phonics.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that we're getting back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if that's all of Wisconsin or if it's like just the district here?
Great question. It is all of Wisconsin. Wisconsin Act 20, if you want to look that up. It's actually, it's legislation, so it's a bill that passed last year, and it's mandating that. Now, of course, it's like many governments, it's an unfunded mandate, right? Do it. We're not going to help you pay for it, but change it over. For those of us who, I went to Catholic schools all my life, so I mean, phonics was like diagramming sentences. I'm like, oh yeah, baby, I don't know if you know about that stuff, but you guys are looking at me like, what? Whole language, that was cool, you know? But yes, so it's statewide, and the requirement is that it would be by next school year that it's fully implemented. So at Whitewater, we jumped on the bandwagon earlier and got ahead of it and got teachers trained last summer in the academy and had it brought in. So we're proof that it's working. And actually, we just went to the state literacy convention and they asked us to present that data, which we did, and kind of showed them what we did by integrating the phonics in. We didn't throw everything out because I think that's irresponsible too with taxpayer money, right? You don't want to like keep old stuff just because it's your precious things, but how does it integrate into what you currently have? and make sure that you're making the mark. So, yes, great question. Good luck to you. What year are you?
I'm a senior, so I'll be doing my student teaching actually this fall.
And where are you student teaching?
Not sure yet. I kind of put it for the Janesville area, but
Okay.
I kind of will take anything from like here to Milton.
Did you write down my email address?
I will check.
Okay, you go find it. Shoot me an email. We'll get you in Whitewater. We'll make sure that if you want to meet around town here.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, good. Any other education majors? Anybody looking for a job? We got good women on job. Oh, we all. Yeah. Summer work. We have summer work jobs. Great. Get a tan. You know, paint, do stuff. Questions? Yes. Sorry. I'm not taking over the room. You know, it's getting late.
Yeah, okay. So speaking of kind of like jobs and phonics and stuff, is there any way that college students here could like kind of help like be tutors to like elementary school, middle schools to get their grade levels kind of up or their scores up?
Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Yeah, we have volunteer forums. You can come in and volunteer to do whatever you want, whenever you want. You know, we'll take anybody and everybody. Well, I shouldn't say that. We do run you through a background check and all that jazz. So we wouldn't take anybody and everybody. But yes, we would love that. And the kids love that. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty humbling for you at your age, you know, to go in there and like the little ones, because like, I don't know, when I was your age, I didn't like little kids at all. I'll be honest. I got certified as a high school teacher. I didn't even want to do middle school. I was like, those kids are too young. I'm like, no. And when you get old like me, you're like, oh, the little ones are the best. They act nice to you. High school kids don't want to talk to you. Principals around here.
For the state report card, like where did the achievement and growth rank compared to like state averages?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I don't remember those numbers offhand. What I do know is that we're above the state average. That's not a really great target to shoot for, because obviously those are not the greatest averages in the world. But definitely it was above the average. I don't know that. I'd have to get back to you on that specifically. So I apologize.
Could you go a bit more into the different career and technical education portion of this referendum? Like what courses, what kind of education you'll be offering, what will be expanded, what will be created?
Great question. I didn't think you guys would care this much. I was trying to go fast because I'm like, I don't want to waste their time, but this is great. I can talk about this all night. So I know it's hard for you to see it. We have manufacturing. So that would be our metals area. So we do have a welding program. We do have fabrication, so lathes, 3D modeling, all that good stuff. So there's a design and engineer piece that's there. Construction, so wood class construction, drywall, all that good stuff, electricity, plumbing, that space. And then this would be auto and small engines. So that additional red space that's there, the current metals welding manufacturing, that blue space, put a line down the middle, half of it is autos, half of it is welding. We can have 10 kids in there at most. So by adding on that space, now the whole thing goes to welding manufacturing, this whole space goes to construction, autos has its own. And the last piece is a greenhouse. And so we've got small animals lab, you can see on the top, maybe you can't see it. Aquaponics, there's a head house, which is basically where you put all the stuff before you get into there. And then office space, agricultural classroom, and then a new storage space. So those are your big ones. And you've got an ag lab and then an esports and fab lab. So that lab is kind of like our tech fun thing with all the cool like stuff, esports chairs and whatever else, but they do all the designing of apps, looking at money management, all that great stuff that they can do. And then the last piece is a family and consumer science. So that would be, so we try to get people SafeServe certified so that they can do that type of stuff. They need experience in an industrial kitchen. And so that's what that part of that is. We also have one of the top 5 programs in the world for robotics at Whitewater High School. Yeah, pretty cool. And so right now, they have to practice by taking like ceiling tiles out of our space because their robot doesn't fit. So part of that was supporting them too. And so that space would be allowed and be able to, if you look where it says STEM and robotics, it's a red box that's underneath there. It's an elevated ceiling space. It has carpet squares like this so their robots can do all their things. But they're a highly motivated, really awesome group. And yeah, like I said, they're nationally ranked. They're in the top 5. So we want to help support that whenever our students do that, and quite a number of kids that are a part of that. And so that's another piece to that. So you can see it kind of spans. Technical education is no longer just the old days of woods and metals. It's also the computer-based stuff and all.
Just a quick comment. I think I used to work in a restaurant, but getting students certified is really cool. That's a really cool program.
We're trying, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, what we're trying to do is, like I said, close the gap between, I don't know about how many of you had an actual meaningful high school experience. Some people did. I mean, some of you were fortunate enough. I'll tell you what, in my day, it was not. Right? Today it's a different, well, it was for me because I went to college. And that's what they did. Honestly. It was geared toward that. I actually grew up in the city of Chicago. I'm not a Bears fan, so I was. But it's like a good divorce. We had good years, bad years, but no bad. But grew up in the city and went to a college prep school in the city. And so, yes, it served well. But the idea is, right now what we're trying to do is get people certified. So we have a CNA program. Funny aside story, first time I interviewed here, I'd use the bathroom. So I'm like waiting outside the room and I'm like, man, I gotta find a bathroom. So I'm like going around and all of a sudden I saw this room that looked like kind of like a bathroom. So I like walk in there and there's all these bodies on beds. And I almost lost it. Like, I'm like, whoa! They were mannequins, but they didn't know it because it was like the CNA lab. So I just come there and I'm about ready to use the bathroom. And there's like all these mannequins on these hospital beds just sitting there. It's like 8 o'clock at night. You're like, whoa, what are they doing here? Anyway, side story. The idea is to get people experience that they need. So we do Safe Start Certified, we have a CNA program. We're trying to get people tied into all the industry certifications so you can actually go work on a plumbing site or an electrical site or a construction site. OSHA has to be involved and you can't be over a certain height and all that, but the idea is making it a meaningful experience for you and getting you out. Not only do we train you in the building, but getting you out and onto the job site for experience.
All right. Last question? Senator.
I swear this is the last one. I just find this stuff so.
That's fine.
How does Whitewater's college and career readiness compare to other schools in the area?
That's interesting. So that's a politically loaded question, a very fun one. I wouldn't expect anything less than from a student government group trying to grill me on that one. So college and career readiness planning is fairly unique, or I shouldn't say unique, fairly new to Wisconsin. It's been around about 5 years now. The actual measure of it has only been around 2. And so the metrics are not very predictable. What they're trying to look for, and what we have seen the increase, the measure that we've seen as far as the increase in the growth has been better than the state. Actually significantly better, as you saw from our numbers going up in industry certifications. Career and technical, part of that planning piece is that they want to see that go up. Unfortunately, one of the biggest pieces remains graduation rate, and that graduation rate needs to be within 4 years. So that factors into. Our graduation rate right now is about 95%, which is better than the state by about 3%, which isn't the greatest. But we're seeing those industry certifications go up, and so as that moves into that assessment, we are definitely trending. We're above the state right now. We're trending even higher as time goes on. So, good question.
We'll take one more.
One more.
Last one.
Okay.
So
the new guy.
Indeed.
So where's the clicking that you got to do? It's like his first question of a guest speaker or whatever. No.
So this is coming out of property taxes, correct?
This will come out of property. Yep.
So will that affect, so let's say the student's living off campus.
Mhm.
Is that more towards the property owner, or do you think it's going to be put on us, or a little bit of both?
It's 100% on the property owner, and then the property owner, will probably, right, most likely, if he wants to continue to be profitable, pass that on to you in rent. Now, like we just showed, it depends on the valuation of the property and all that. But, again, you're looking at $94 a year per 200,000. So how much would that affect rent? Not sure. So if you get any landlords who are shady trying to pass it on to you after it passes, you send them my way or give me a call. I'll let them know. Because I'm a landlord here too, and I don't do that. But they shouldn't be using that as an excuse. Great question.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
And then, is is your email somewhere in that presentation?
It is, it's on the main slide, so.
If anyone has any more questions, or you want to contact them, we'll make sure you get the email, come see me, or whoever has the presentation, maybe Vice President Ben.
Perfect.
We'll make sure that you get his email, and we'll get you in contact.
Sounds good. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. One other plug that I'll put forth, we do have 2 school board seats and 4 people running. So if you would want to host a candidate forum or something like that as a student government, feel free to reach out to me. I'm very interested in those types of things. So it might be kind of fun for you to see these candidates because it's kind of a fire pit. It's very polar opposites. So if you got them all in one room at once, it might be kind of a fun one. She knows what we're
Awesome. Good stuff. Well,
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. You're welcome to stay and watch the rest of our governance, but I mean, it's getting late, so
I'm gonna get home to the kids.
Probably the right move. Probably the right move. And with that, we will move a bit out of order again. We're going to go over to new business, and we're going to get out of the way item B, R242507, resolution honoring University of Wisconsin-Whitewater International Students Association. Senator Carter, stand, please. Thanks for having me.
Alright, hi y'all. Yeah, so today I'm bringing forth our 24-2507 resolution honoring the International Student Association. This bill, I've been working on it since winter break. It's a bill that I've wanted to do for many years now. Well, personal note, my little in my fraternity was the president of ISA in 2022. He'll be the MC of the international dinner this Friday, so make sure you get your tickets. The menu is really good. I'm gonna read the recognizings and then the final therefore. Recognizing Assistant Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs Greg Bartlett for his services and dedication to the International Student Association, all the hard work and dedication he has put into ISA on the campus of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. And recognizing all the students who serve on the ISA Executive Board and for the hard work and dedication that they have for the student body on the campus of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. Their hard work towards the international dinner event to keep it affordable for all students and staff. And recognizing the 43rd International Dinner, an annual event that the International Student Association hosts every spring semester at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater to have the whole student body try different dishes all across the world and see performances from other countries on campus. Therefore, be it finally resolved, the Whitewater Student Government gives all of its gratitude to the International Student Association for all they do for students at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater for the incredible event of the International Dinner that is put on annually by the organization. I had the honor of talking to Assistant Vice Chancellor Bartlett about this bill, and something that I found interesting is that ISA has gone from 60 students to 23 students. And they're still making this event the cheapest probably college event you will ever go to besides sports games, unless they're NCAA games. But I mean, $5, or if you live in the residence hall, free, or any other way you can get them free. It's a great event. This association does hard work year round to put this event on for the whole campus, and I just felt like it was necessary to give them the recognition they deserve. For those of you who were here in the fall, the reason why I came back to WSG was to recognize these smaller organizations on campus that don't get the light that, like Greek Life or any other student orgs get. So, yeah. Mr. Speaker, with that, I yield to questions.
Thank you so much, Logan. With that, we'll move into questions. Are there any questions tonight? Once and twice, seeing none. With that, we'll move into content changes. Are there any content changes? Going once, going twice, seeing none, with that we'll move to clerk letters. Are there clerk letters? You speak of trees?
In the first whereas, we do, after University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, add a space, parentheses, UW-Whitewater, and parentheses. All of the statements should end in a semicolon and a regular comma. And then in the therefore be it resolved, just put an and between hard work and dedication.
I'm looking at your laptop right now, so we've got all those typed up. I ask for unanimous consent to make those changes. Any objections? So you know, wonderful. Any other clear cuts? Going once, going twice. I could be reading it wrong, but I have one. All the students for their hard work and dedication. So put an and in between hard work and dedication. In the therefore be it resolved.
Oh,
Realize.
I thought you were talking about.
No.
Oh, yep, I see it. Yep, okay.
Yep, right there. Down low. Right there. Hard work and dedication.
I will.
Ask for unanimous consent. Any objections? See none. Any other clerk letters?
Oh, no, this is my laptop.
Any clerk letters going once, going twice? See none. Without moving the discussion. It's always a pleasure. I'll start discussion. It's always a pleasure when Logan brings something to me to sponsor and says, hey, I mean, I've never seen someone who comes with such an ingrained purpose, right, in trying to honor some of the organizations that few students know about, and then uses our organization to do exactly that. So thank you so much, Logan, for bringing it to us. Frank, thank you so much for all the hard work you put into it. It's absolutely amazing. It's an honor we get to do this. Any other discussion? Deputy Speaker Peters?
I went to the international dinner last year, and it was a blast. I haven't been this year, but I assume it'll be a blast. I would encourage you all to go.
I will add, I hear that one of our directors will be performing this year here and there, so I would stay tuned for that.
Any other discussion there? Once again, please see none. Wonderful. With that, we will move into a roll call vote. Vice President, whenever you're ready.
Senator
Please
Bolt.
vote.
Aye.
Senator Carter.
Aye.
Senator Irwin.
Aye.
Senator Esterholm.
Aye.
Senator Gross.
Aye.
Senator Gutslaw. Senator Keebler. Senator Michael.
Aye.
Senator Miller.
Aye.
Senator Petrikis.
Aye.
Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Schmidt.
Aye.
And Speaker Wilson.
Aye. And with that, R 242507, the resolution honoring the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater International Students Association has passed unanimously. And Frank, if you'd like to say anything, you have the floor. You're welcome.
No, well, this is greatly appreciated. You know, it's always been a lot of work. You know, last week when we were tabling on Tuesday and we're tabling again tomorrow, you know, we were trying to figure out how many hours it is to prepare for like a 2 to 2.5 hour meal, and it's quite a difference between the two. So, you know, I appreciate the time and the energy you took to put the resolution together. I was touched by Logan reaching out to me during winter break. Hey, can we chat? You know, and then seeing it come to fruition. So it'll be a nice part of the dinner now, because as you know, showing this, you know, presenting this to at the dinner will be a nice touch. So I look forward to seeing as many of you as possible. If you don't have a ticket, there's a few housing free tickets if you live in the halls. And if you don't have one, you still want to go, you need to reach out to me ASAP, right? Bartlett F. Tell me I need a ticket. Okay, so that, you know, that's, get as many people there. At this point, I think we're looking at 260 is what we're looking at, you know, for attendance. So it's a good function, and I ate well last year, and I'm looking to eat well this year. So let's just have a good time. And thanks. This is greatly appreciated.
Thank you so much for that. All right. With that, we will move into item A in new business. the approval of the 2026-2027 academic calendar. So if you remember last week, our guest speaker was the registered Ms. Sherrock. She was the one who walked us through the academic calendar. So today, we will be voting to endorse said calendar. Do you have any questions? We can take them quickly. Senator Carter?
Just point of information, isn't state law that we need to start school before Labor Day? And this is, after Labor Day, sorry, I misspoke there. And this is before.
I have no idea what the state law is, I won't lie to you, but I do believe this is inland. Director Smith?
We only have to start after the first Tuesday, first Monday of September. It's
Okay.
like the first something of September, it's not officially Labor Day. Traditionally, Labor Day falls on that day, so it seems like, but this is within compliance.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't know.
Good question. Any other clarification question, anything? No? Wonderful. With that, we will move into a roll call vote to endorse the 2026-2027 calendar. There it is. A vote of aye is a vote of endorsement. A vote of nay is a vote against. Mr. Vice President, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Senator Bull.
Aye.
Senator Carter.
Aye.
Senator Irwin.
Aye.
Senator Esterholm.
Aye.
Senator Gross.
Aye.
Senator Gutzlaw.
Aye.
Senator Keebler.
Aye.
Senator Michael.
Aye.
Senator Miller.
Aye.
Senator Petrikis.
Aye.
Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Schmidt.
Aye.
And Speaker Wilson.
Aye. And with that, the 2026-2027 academic calendar has been endorsed unanimously. All right, we are back in order now. All righty, we will go to approval of the agenda minutes, starting with the minutes from February 24th, 2025. Making a motion to approve. Senator Carter.
Motion approved.
Second by Senator Bull. Wonderful. Voice vote.
Acclamation.
Wonderful. Any opposed? Seeing none, the minutes from February 24th, 2025 have been approved unanimously. To item B, the agenda for March 3rd, 2025. I would like to start with Deputy Speaker Trees.
I move to amend to add academic affairs and student affairs under internal committee reports, and to change the names under guest speakers to Anthony Brzezowski.
We'll make sure it's spelled correct.
Which is
Can I get a second? Parliamentary. Voice vote.
Acclamation.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the change has been made accordingly. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for March 2025? Senator Bull.
I have a quick question regarding the agenda. Would it be right to make an amendment to remove the 6 if conversion failed and none if conversion fails now that we have properly done the conversion for seats, or is it better to keep it in?
I think it would make the most sense to keep it in so that anyone reviewing the agenda in the future can see that what it would have been if the conversion didn't go through. Any other amendments we'd like to make? If not, can I get a motion to approve? Deputy Speaker Trees.
move to approve.
Second by Senator Schmidt, I'm way downtown. All right, can I get a voice vote?
Acclamation.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the agenda for March 3rd, 2025 is approved unanimously. With that, we'll move on to student issues and concerns. Are there any student issues and concerns in the gallery today? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, with that, we'll move to reports, starting with external committee reports, which we have none, and internal committee reports, starting with the internal committee report for academic affairs. Senator Punzel, you want to come up to the podium? Your floor.
All right, good evening, everybody. So, the Academic Affairs Committee, we met last week Tuesday, where we elected Senator Purnell, who's currently not here, and parliamentarian as Vice Chair and Parliamentarian Irwin as our Secretary of Academic Affairs. So, last week we decided to compare and contrast colleges with ours in terms of career services programs. So stuff like security clearance programs, internships, stuff like that. And so we were then tasked with researching one of those programs from a nearby college and seeing on how to implement it on a smaller scale. Seeing as some of the colleges we looked at, like UW-Milwaukee, were a much smaller school and with a lot less resources to that degree. So, Mr. Speaker, that concludes my report. Any questions?
Any questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we'll move into the internal committee report for student affairs. Senator Carter.
Thank you.
All right. The internal student affairs committee met the past 2 weeks, and this is kind of some stuff we went over. We elected the vice chair and secretary. The vice chair is me, and the secretary is Senator Bull. We had student issues and concerns that were brought up to Director Balistreri and Associate Director Khan. They were answered, and here's some things that were brought up. The Wells East elevators will be fixed during the summer of 2025 and operational by August 9th. Wells West will be summer of 2026. Dining wants to be more well informed. Meal equivalency, just a reminder, is for the retail places, and if you want double swipe, the other swipe would have to be at dining hall. They want to do more tabling. And then Ike Schaefer's is looking well, and that is going to keep the same. Lot 11, over by the Williams Center, is now a rainbow lot. Anyone can park there from 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. 7 a.m. enforcement for overnight parking. And then if you have any questions or concerns, please contact Director Balistreri, Associate Director Khan, or even someone on the committee. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield.
Any questions, Deputy Speaker Patrice?
What's up with the wells over there?
It just keeps breaking down. They keep having to repair it, so it's been
Is
bad
it
for a while.
continuous, like up and then down, or is it always down?
It goes down consistently, it happens every now and then.
The Wells East elevator has been down a lot last year. A lot of maintenance things, they've had people come in to try and fix it. And every time it breaks, maybe a month or so later. So it's been an ongoing issue to say, and it's been in both towers. But it's getting fixed now, so.
Any other questions? Going once.
Over here.
I was just gonna comment on the west side, yeah, we've had some issues with the elevator over there. I remember there was a period where the door didn't shut all the way, which was kind of concerning, so.
I can see how that's concerning. Any other questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Thank you so much, Senator Carter. With that, we'll move on to officer reports, starting with the report of our Vice President, unless from the, oh, there he is! Whoa, he's got a war-off background and everything. All the way from Madison, President Douglas Allen Bradley III.
Evening, everybody. How are we? Good, hopefully. Sorry for not submitting a report. It's been a bit of a crazy week here, but I'm here with you now, and I'm going to give you my report. So get a pen ready, get a little pad of paper ready, and let's dive right into this. So last week, Monday through Wednesday, we had the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs search. Those are various meetings throughout the day. Those went really well. A huge thank you to the committee that helped with that. The Chancellor has said we will have an answer on who will be hired as the next Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs this week. He first has to meet with Student Affairs leadership, and we're going to finish going through the applicant's references before making a final decision. Last week, we also had book club. Cabinet met on Wednesday. Thursday morning, that same committee that held the interview with the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs met again, and we made a recommendation to the Chancellor. The Chancellor's Leadership Council met Friday morning, and the Internal Student Affairs Committee met that afternoon. This week, tomorrow, I'll be going to coffee at the Capitol with Isaiah, Abby, and Orrin. So that should be a great time. You three, make sure you read up on the documents you got today. Book club on Wednesday is our last one of actual substance. And then the week following, we're having a pizza party, only if you came to at least one. For those of you who've been in attendance for all of them so far, attending the last two would count as an outreach, but only if you've attended all of them. I need a student, a senator, one of you, to go to University Staff Council Thursday at 9 a.m. The speaker and I are going to be working on appointing a student to each of the other three shared governance groups. So if anybody's interested, that might be the easiest way to go about it. So please email me, WebEx me, you know how to get a hold of me. Chancellor's Committee on Student Success will meet Thursday. Warhawk Dining Advisory Meeting, CRC, elections engagement, lots of good stuff coming down the pipeline. For those of you interested, this Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, 12:15 to 1:15 in the Hamilton Room. They're holding Catholic Mass. All are welcome. I'd yield to Warhawk Catholic. If you have any questions, you can find them on Instagram. And then I was pulled into several meetings today, and I'm going to have a phone call here after this meeting ends. And we're in, I think, week 6. Joe might know. He reminds us every week. I think we're in week 6 now. Please look after yourselves. Look after your friends. Familiarize yourself with the resources we have on campus. If you aren't familiar, you can visit one of the directors, send me an email. But this is a tough time for a lot of folks, so take care of yourself and keep an eye on others. And with that, I will yield.
Any questions, President Pratt? Once, going twice. Thank you so much for joining us. And I love that background, Mr. President.
Thank you. Well, my background might be a little better. I'm looking at the Capitol right now.
All righty. We got a question from Deputy Speaker Patricius here.
If a decision is made on if a decision's made on Vice Chancellor Student Affairs next week or this week or whatever, will it be announced this week, or is that still like a later decision?
Chancellor has told us that he'll make a decision this week. Don't know what that looks like. I imagine that includes an announcement. We're going to meet tomorrow, Corey and I can give you more of an update then.
Wonderful. Any questions? Going once, going twice. See now with that, we'll move into the report of our Vice President, Mark Mann.
Good evening, y'all. This week I'll be continuing to collaborate with Parliamentarian Irwin on our outreach scripts, so hopefully you can get those refined with the presentations and especially those one-on-one scripts as well. I'll be meeting with Directors Reiser and Smith. Smith actually might be pushed back to next week, but I'll be meeting with Advisor Bilgan, and in addition to that, attending the International Dinner, which is this Friday at 6 p.m. I think? 5:30.
Oh, doors open at 5:30.
Doors open at 5:30 from Frank in the Hamilton Room at the UC. And Senator O'Leary, could you please see me after? Get your name down for a placard. If you need a new binder, please see me after as well. And finally, we got some fancy new placard holders. So we're doing a little something new now. Everybody, please come see me after to turn in your placard. We'll get these all rigged up in a fancy plastic case for you, and we will hang on to these, so no need to keep track of them anymore for Senate meetings. And with that, I yield to my report.
Any questions? Vice President Payne, Parliamentarian.
If we would prefer a non-holder placard, we keep ours or?
I am going to respectfully veto that.
Already any other questions? Going once, going twice. See now with that we'll move into I'm a little thrown off. With that we'll move into equal report. Starting with the report our Director of Academic Affairs, Advisor.
Good evening, everyone. So last week I had some career services meetings. I met with the College of Arts and Communications Career Advisor, Pilar Joseph. We had a really good conversation. She said that she is up in appointments. She does some work with teaching some classes. She also is the career advisor for the Rockland County campus, so she's trying to figure out ways to connect better with those students. And then she's looking into doing some presentation series for those coax students. I also met with Brian Bredesen, who's the Education and Professional Studies Career Advisor, so that was productive as well. I had a meeting with Josh Lee, the Director of Career Services, discussing more for the plan for the semester. I met with Kim Apel, who's the does the marketing for Career Services, and that was also a really good conversation. She has a marketing plan She has like guidelines for what she does for each post. Career Services has their table set up at many events like the Resource Fair, SOAR, Preview Day, and stuff like that. So they're there for students. We discussed tabling and incorporating Career Services more into the dining halls so that tables can be set up there. Again, very promotion heavy for that. And then we also talked about social media and trying to get students more on the social media pages, Instagram and TikTok, because that gets more engagement usually. So we brainstormed some ideas for that. I also had a meeting with Dean Vick. We discussed transcript fees for grad students. So if you are an undergrad and you are going to be a grad student here, there should not be any fees, so you should not be paying parchment. So we clarified that. And then we had the Academic Affairs Committee. This week, so the director for the Center of Global Experiences interviews, actually I will be attending the forums for that, so I was not in that. And then I have the Coffee at the Capitol event tomorrow, and then a meeting with Greg, who's the Letters and Sciences Career Advisor. So, also, if you're in the Academic Affairs Committee, please see me after. With that, I yield to any questions.
Any questions for Director? Once. Deputy Student Trees.
If I graduate from this university and then I work at this university, do I have to pay for an official transcript?
So,
I would be hired as a full-time employee here
after you graduate?
after I graduate.
And then are you saying eventually you go to grad school or just no?
No grad school, skip grad school, get graduated with my bachelor's, and then apply to work at the university here, and then.
That is a very good question. I can follow up with him and then let you know, because I, quite frankly, do not know the answer to that.
Any other questions? Twice seeing that. With that, we'll move to the report of our Director of Student Affairs, Joe Ballister.
Hello, everyone. Happy 6th week. So, last week I met with Terry and Fabio to discuss some housing and dining related questions, comments, and concerns. Also attended the Internal Student Affairs Committee. This week I'm going to be meeting with Dale to discuss some parking stuff. I'm also going to be meeting with, I was hoping to meet with Advisor Billigan, but unfortunately she's under the weather. So, hopefully she feels better. Let's see, I'm also going to be going to the Dining Advisory Committee on Friday and going to the Internal Student Affairs Committee again on Friday as well. On top with that, on Friday, I'm going to be playing the handpan at the international dinner, so it'll be great to see you all there. It'll be a fun time, great food. And with that, I yield.
I got a question.
Yes.
What's a handpan?
It's so go to the international dinner. You can see what.
Oh, I love that answer. Director Ballister. Do we have any other questions? Handpan related or not? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we'll move into the report of our Associate Director of Student Affairs.
All right, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a gracious last week. Last week I met with Kristen Fellhauer and Frank Bartlett for updates on the campus reporting app or Reform. I met one-on-one with Vice President Bain as well as attended book club. I met with Kristen and Title IX on the same things on reporting and how we can better consolidate it, as well as campus dining in UHCS. As well as Rec Sports and Andy Browning on what they are planning on future steps. I met with the Academic Affairs Committee and I'm meeting with them again this week. I'm meeting with Dining and Title IX again, just to have some follow-ups on survey. If anybody wants to know more about some surveys on how we can better improve some departments, please send me an email. As well as I'm going to the Universal Design Committee and going to a UHCS speaker event. Thank you, I yield.
Any questions for Associate Director Cup? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, with that, we'll move to the report of our Director of Governmental Affairs. What was that?
Thank you. I'm going to remain sitting. Last week I recovered from COVID. So you'll see that I didn't get much else done. I'm here now. This week I'm back to it. I had a student government meeting today. I have coffee at the Capitol tomorrow. On Wednesday, I will be attending the UHCS speaker in Summers Auditorium. I will be attending the international dinner, so you can come find me and my fiance there if you haven't met my fiance. I'll be doing my office hours, and we will be meeting for EDC this week for real this time. Campus community updates, UHCS is holding a shoe drive for their Soul Survivor campaign. They're still taking those for donations all the way through like mid-April. The next election is April 1st, as we heard a lot today. And if you're interested in getting involved with the city commission or board, please let me know. I answer questions.
Any questions? Deputy Speaker Retreat.
I keep hearing about this Coffee at the Capitol. What is that?
Coffee at the Capitol is an event that's held every year. Historically, president, vice president, and a couple of other people go. Intergovernmental affairs is pretty common. We meet with Whitewater alumni as well as some legislators and represent our university alongside some admin and have coffee and chat.
Any other questions? Who wants? Going twice? Seeing none, with that, we'll move to the report of our Director of Communications. Page 1.
Good evening, everyone. Last week, I had my one-on-one with Vice President Bain. I finished creating the US logos as well. This week, I will be meeting with my committee, finishing up the outreach slides, and working on post ideas for the month of March. That's all. I don't see any. You'll take any questions.
Wonderful. Any questions for Director of Communications? Senator Bolt?
When you say the us logos are referring to It's On Us or?
Yes, it's on us.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, wonderful. With that, we will move into, I believe the clerk is yielding the report. We'll move into the report of our Senate Parliament. Oh, Sadie, I mean, you're right there. Sadie, report.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay,
So
cool. Sorry, y'all. I'm not there today. I have COVID, so I will be up online this week. But last week, the elections committee met. I also met with UHCS with Associate Director Khan, one-on-one with Vice President Bain. And if you go to the website, you'll notice there's some changes to it that you kind of see soon as you go on the homepage. I made that just so it's easier to find your way around rather than just having a huge logo pop up. And then this week, I'm meeting with Chase Zimmerman tomorrow, the chair of the elections committee, vice chair of the elections committee. I also have the candidate information session tomorrow at 5 p.m. And I might attend book club in CRC if I'm feeling better, but book club I will probably be virtual for. And with that, I yield.
Any questions from Madam Clerk? Going once, going twice. Quick shout out to Vice President Bain for picking up a bunch of hard work on the minutes today. So in the absence of the clerk, thank you so much, Vice President Bain. I appreciate it.
Sadie's doing most of it.
All righty. With that, we move to the report of our Senate Parliamentarian. Liquor.
So yes, last week I attended elections committee, student affairs, academic affairs, met with the vice president to work on the scripts for outreach events, and of course I completed 25 surveys. The outreach event was 10. I wanted to do all 25 to get a thorough understanding of what my proposed outreach event would look like. And so yeah, on the subject of outreach events, they were due at midnight last night. I will be setting up meetings with everyone who completed an outreach event to discuss it with them. So please make sure your Outlook calendars are up to date. I want to start sending those out tonight, and then I'll send out new ones if you need to update your calendar and it turns out that time doesn't work for you. With the invite, there will be a list of questions which just kind of highlight the kind of information I'm looking for, but I also encourage you to bring whatever you think is relevant about the event to the meeting so we can have a thorough conversation about your experience with it and your recommendations on what it should look like going forward. I'll also note that while I was completing the outreach event and through conversations with different senators, it has come to my attention that the ratio of students who take the survey to the ones who complete the survey is somewhat higher than I might have predicted. So what I'm going to do to account for that is anyone who has completed 5 surveys, I'll be reaching out to you, and if you can describe a event which had a reasonable chance of completing all 10 of them, I'll also be scheduling a meeting with you. So for example, if you attended a club with more than 10 people, and every one of those people scanned the survey, but you still only received 5 responses, I'll be setting up a meeting with you. So please be on the lookout for that contact, so you can describe to me what steps you took to attempt to complete the outreach event, so that I can get your feedback. And then of course, next meeting, I will be presenting what I hope is the final version of the outreach event, and then we'll be having a discussion on it. So that covers most of what I'll be doing this week. There's also various committees. Excitingly, I think the chair's trying to arrange a CRC meeting too. Yes, Friday. So all regularly meeting internal committees will meet this week, which is very cool. And a quick reminder, you can attend any internal committee meeting as a guest. So, yeah, and I yield to questions. Thank you.
I have a question.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, you haven't had the meetings with the senators yet, but in terms of how your own 25 went, how do you feel your experience doing outreach went?
I actually thought it was simple enough to accomplish. I didn't experience any great difficulty. I will say that the feedback from students was somewhat less than I had hoped, and a larger proportion of students than I expected. Their only feedback was, I don't have any feedback. So that was somewhat unfortunate in my eyes. And maybe I'll be looking at different questions, perhaps tease out further feedback to get to the core of it. But besides that, as much as I don't like speaking to strangers, but with that aside, I enjoyed the outreach event for what it was and getting to discuss what WSG is with different people. And I am afraid I have to extend my report a little bit. My apologies, I forgot about this portion. Going for the next week, obviously the outreach event will likely undergo change, but you can continue completing your outreach event, getting students to commit surveys, and regardless of what form the outreach event ends up taking, I'll take those into account and find a way for you to get credit for them. And until that change comes through, the outreach event is 25 surveys. So if you want to get those 25 done this week and have an outreach event done, that will count going forward, regardless of what form outreach ends up taking. And then I also forgot to mention a discussion we had in student affairs. A question will be added on to the survey, asking if the students had a chance to express their thoughts about UHCS, which means that you'll now have to ask them, in addition to, do you have any feedback? Specifically, what feedback do you have for UHCS? Basically, this is because UHCS is trying to gather feedback from students, but students have a bit of survey fatigue, so we are incorporating that into our outreach event. So when you're completing the outreach event in the future, please make sure to ask every student you speak to what their feedback on UHCS is, and we might get you some more specific targeted questions at some point, but just make sure you get that down. And whereas most feedback you receive is for your own personal use, this is specifically for UHCS, so please make sure to record any feedback you receive about UHCS and forward it to one of our student affairs directors. And now I yield back to questions.
Any other questions for the parliamentarian, Senator Plumsky?
So you mentioned on how students are now starting to have survey fatigue. My question then is, would you ever offer an alternative solution instead of a survey to complete outreach events?
Well, the first key distinction to make is that I don't view this outreach event as that much of a survey. Most surveys have rather lengthy. They have a lot of short answer responses. Most of them take 20, 30, even multiple hours to complete in the case of certain extensive surveys. Whereas this one is just confirming that a sender spoke to you. And the other key portion is that it's meant to foster an individual connection between a sender and a student, which is why I think that this isn't necessarily susceptible to that same survey fatigue. And but that aside, I will reiterate that if someone wants to do a alternative outreach outside of the general parameters I've established, please feel free to speak with me and we will see whether or not we can approve it as an outreach event.
Any other questions for the following chair? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we'll move to the report of our deputy speaker. Nick Patrick.
Happy Monday. Just a reminder that if there's no one in the office, the door should be closed. So if you're the last one leaving the office, close it behind you. I know some of you don't have access. Vice President May is the contact, so reach out to him if you don't have access yet. But bring your wallet with you, bring your hawk card, whatever you do. But just carry it with you, so then if you have to leave and come back, close the door if you're the only one in there. Finish the wall of legislation in the office on Friday, so if you haven't been to the office, go check that out. It looks really cool. And then please update your Outlook calendars. Just a general reminder. If CRC is this Friday, if you plan on coming this open meeting, you can. Just let me know so I can know to expect you. Put that in.
Wonderful. Any questions for the deputy speaker? Going once. Director Smith.
For senators who might be new, what is CRC?
That's the Constitutional Revision Committee. Wow. We look at any and all changes to the standing rules, Constitution, things like that.
President Bradley from WebEx Land.
Deputy, why is it so important that we shut and lock the doors?
Well, there's just a lot of stuff in there that, there's a lot of stuff in there that could be potentially sensitive. Your Speaker Wilson has more that he wants to add.
So there's a lot of valuable stuff in there in terms of tangible value, like desktops and monitors and whatnot. But more importantly, I guess more aptly in President Bradley's office, there's really, really sensitive documents. So leaving that door open, it's not only a risk to the tech and the business that we have and the business that we do, but it's also a risk to the literal actual student serving we do. That door really, really needs to get closed if no one's in the office. Thank you bunches. Any other questions for Deputy Speaker Patrice? Senator Gust?
Yeah, what time is CRC on?
It is at 3 to 4:30. I'll let you decide.
And do you have a location for me?
TBD. That's why I ask if you're interested in coming, let me know so I can update you with all the, when I get a room started, I can update you.
So, well,
can you repeat that meeting room?
TBD.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we're into my report. I'm not going to stand up either. I'm just not feeling it. Last week, I was on some of the vice chancellor. I was on some of the vice chancellor student affairs lunches. So we were running around looking to find the vice chancellor student affairs. Got to meet with some wonderful candidates, and I think it went quite well. So I'm excited to see who the chancellor decides, and if it's within the week, what a wonderful time. Went to the Dr. Chenoweth appreciation event. Doug had some wonderful words to say. The chancellor had a wonderful set of words. Bless you. And Director Reiser apparently had wonderful words as well. I wasn't there the whole time, so I'm sure the words were wonderful. I'm sorry I didn't get to see them. Yeah, it was a great event. It was cool to see folks have a good time celebrating John. Book club was last week, and book club is this week. It's the last time you go to book club and really dive into the content. I would say Doug just did a little, I don't see the celebratory. You see that? Boom, look at that, right there. That's a book club celebration because last week we had an absolutely outstanding conversation on the content. It was great, and this is our last time this week we get to have a conversation on the content. After that, I believe it's a pizza party if you've been to one of the meetings. So if you want to go to the pizza party, you should come to book club this week and dive into the content with us. It's really cool. It's really fun. I did a bunch of planning on the Senate retreat last week, and that extended to this Monday. I had a meeting with direct advisor, real good. Deputy Speaker Patrice and the parliamentarian Earl. We talked about how we want the agenda to look. We'll have that solidified soon, and we'll get that out to all of you before we see all of your wonderful faces roughly 2 weeks from now. So can't wait for that. And also went to Cabinet as always. This week I had the wonderful privilege of accompanying Director Reiser, Director Smith, and President Bradley at Coffee at Capitol tomorrow. Very exciting. Cabinet as always, CRC, which should get last, actions, engagement. You'll have a bunch more information on the Senate retreat soon. So keep a lookout on that. I'm also knocking out a bunch more Senate one-on-ones. I had to cancel one last week. It just broke my heart. So I'll keep your Outlook calendars updated and whatnot, and I'll be on there soon. It just pops up as like lunch with me or Senate one-on-one with me. So if you can't make it, no worries. Just say you decline it, so I'm not in that place when you're there. I understand some people's Outlook calendars aren't fully updated and things pop up. I'm totally able to maneuver on those things. Just decline the event, so I'm not in the place that I said you'd be, and you're not there. You prick my heart. So, wonderful. Any questions for myself, Deputy Speaker Patrice?
Do I have to be at the Senate retreat?
You have to be at the Senate retreat. So we emailed all of you. It says mandatory. Mandatory means you got to be there. I'm going to yield to the Deputy Speaker as to what happens if you're not there and you don't have an excuse.
You will be assessed an unexcused absence. Semantics. Upon 4 of those, you will be removed from your seat.
Go to the training. It's going to be a great time. We love it. It's going to be like actually a really fun time. It'll be in here. One of my favorite memories in my WSG experience was during the spring training my freshman year. So, and we're doing the same thing. That was that favorite memory. So look out for it. It's going to be a good time. Senator Schmidt.
What is a reasonable excuse not to be there? I've been saying trying to find one, but I do have work and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally understand. I mean, I would say generally speaking, the most excusable excuses are university-sponsored event. So everything in the excuse absence policy, you're good. We are also an understanding bunch, so leadership is. So if you have an extenuating circumstance, please let the deputy speaker know, and he'll decide. He likely has meetings with folks to assess what's an excusable absence or whatnot, but also obviously yield to the deputy speaker.
Email me or talk to me after.
I might be able to get it to work. Just speaking out, not just contacting.
Talk to me after. We'll work something out.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we will move into unfinished business of which we have none. Into announcements. Any announcements? Director Reiser.
Academic affairs, please see me after. Thank you.
Director Smith.
UHCS speaker this Wednesday at 5 p.m. in Summers Auditorium.
Senator Smith.
Political Science Student Association is holding the History of Campaigning panel next week, Wednesday, ID 100, I believe, or 101. You're going to see a lot of cool items from the 60s, 70s.
Got a time on that?
4 p.m.
Senator Bolt.
Last week I tabled with Senator Houston. If anybody else would like to do a joint tabling, we can, keep some more going for our signatures as well as just promoting to the student body. Let me know. I do have a question to ask to the floor. Because we have seen senators in our 8th ward get sick, do we know if the WSG office has been recently sanitized? Because I know that
me and Clerk West, after we found out about Director Smith, we went around and sanitized the whole office last Wednesday. So yes, it has been sanitized.
That would be like that,
Vice President Bain, was that
Yes.
in relation to that?
Yes. I have more announcements though.
Oh, okay, Parliamentarian.
Yeah, just to reiterate, you can continue completing your outreach event. It will count in some way. Remember to ask about UHCS and write down any feedback you receive on UHCS and forward that to the, do you have a preference for which one of you they forward it to? No, so either of the student affairs directors.
Just going off that point of, I did take a test this weekend. I am negative, so no, I'm not sick. So.
Deputy Speaker Patrice.
Reminder that tabling is an office hour, so you can go to table and then collect some signatures for your outreach events. Just another reminder, watch your mental health. This time can be important, so talk to someone. If that needs to be someone in this room, or if that needs to be professional, talk to people around you, be prepared.
People care. Quick announcement, as you can see, we're light in our ranks in several places today. I'm a big handshaker and a big hugger. So if you don't want me to shake your hand or hug you or reach too close to you, just let me know. It's kind of a sick season, it seems. So no worries. Hand sanitize, wash your hands, all that good stuff. We like seeing smiling faces, so it's better when they're not sick, but, take care of yourselves. Vice President Bain?
If you have a placard, come see me after.
Director?
Two quick things. The Coalition Against Sexual and Interpersonal Violence, or CASIV, meets this Thursday at 6:30 in 261 Vivian Jeffries. So you could go attend that if you'd like to. The other thing, along the notes of reaching out to people if you need them, if you ever need to get in contact with me for whatever reason, my cell phone number is in my email signature, or you can find one of many people who have my phone number. You're more than welcome.
Any other announcements? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we're on to adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Senator Cluster.
I move to adjourn.
Seconded by Senator Gross. Can I get a voice vote?
Acclamation.
Wonderful. Any opposed? Seeing none. With that, at 8:54 on. Waffle? Sorry, my bad. I'm sorry.
So intense.
So there are documents. Okay, there it is. It might be called transfer documents.
I know, that's like I don't think he was expecting
I can just look at, I don't know if that's and I just want to I like, quick, figure it out. And then I can send out the email, and I can write it up. And maybe it's okay.
I have to go to
So, that request is for you. It looks that I will be looking at, it'll be either next, next year or the next. I will get that. Yeah.